Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com for non-boxing picks. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. First, let me say happy holidays to everyone. I hope you get to hang out with Santa and the family. Um, hey, very warm holiday wishes. Let me offer a gambling play I like. Christmas Day. The Cleveland Cavaliers visit the Golden State Warriors. I don't believe the game is close. I like Golden State big here, right? I'm not going to fool around with the point spread, even though I do think Golden State should cover it, right? Just understand that Cleveland just isn't as good as Golden State, right? I believe the best player on the court is not going to be LeBron James. I think it's Steph Curry. I also think that the second best player on the court is going to be in dispute, because people need to realize that the guy who finished second last year in Defensive Player of the Year voting, Draymond Green, is that good. I don't mean to pick on LeBron. I certainly would be hesitant to downplay LeBron if he were still playing with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. But he's not. Right? He's now playing with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. And let me point out, Kyrie Irving's just coming back. I know the casual fans, they'll say, hey, this is an addition. This means the team's that much better. But basketball's a chemistry sport. Sometimes when you add a guy, even a guy who was picked first in the draft, a superstar, sometimes that hurts the team, because the team doesn't know how to play with him in the short term. So I like Golden State. I'm expecting them to win. I like them on the money line Christmas Day. Let me point out, too, Golden State unbeaten this year at home. Let's talk about Andy Lee against Billy Joe Saunders. Right? Now, Billy Joe Saunders delivered for us. More beer for us. Very nice night. But let me say, I was expecting Billy Joe Saunders to use a lot of lateral movement. Right, Andy Lee is a 6'2" guy trying to convince us in his 30s that he still belongs at middleweight. I'm not buying it. Let me point out, too, I know Adam Booth is a celebrity trainer. Right? Excellent trainer. I love Adam Booth, just like I love John David Jackson. But just like John David Jackson works better with offensive fighters, right? Adam Booth works better with mobile fighters. Andy Lee's not mobile. Right? He's not. Well, this is the second straight fight Andy Lee has been knocked down multiple times in the fight. Right? I could read all the interviews here online about how great Andy Lee feels at 160 pounds. Maybe he feels great. His body doesn't feel great. Right? He's getting knocked down early in these fights. Right? He's not getting knocked down because of fatigue. He's getting knocked down in the first half of fights against Peter Quillen and now Billy Joe Saunders. Because when he gets hit on the chin with a good shot, his body can't recover. Right? Longtime viewers here know I'm a skeptic of the idea that you're better off if you walk around at 175 pounds or 170 pounds. You're better off, fighting at middleweight, losing 15 or 10 pounds in the days leading up to a fight. They have a term for it, cutting weight. You're better off artificially fighting at a lower weight class. I don't buy it. Maybe it works right now for Saunders, right, who's also a guy who drops a lot of weight before a fight. Right? I know Saunders for this fight was in shape. Days before the fight, for those of you who watch weight, I'm aware of that. But understand his history has been dropping weight before a fight. Now that might work for Saunders, who's in his mid-20s. That doesn't work for 6'2" guys who are in their 30s. Right? I think it's time that Andy Lee consider gaining weight to fight at 168. With the right matchmaker, he can fight against guys who don't have bigger punches. Right? And keep in mind, Andy Lee's an outsized puncher. for his first few fights as he acclimates to the weight. Let's get back to this fight. I was surprised. I know I was on the right side, but I was surprised that Saunders comes out and decides to make it a duel, to make it a gunfight. If you're the younger guy, if you can fight smaller, if you're the more fluid guy, the higher volume guy, and you're fighting a puncher, right? A guy who stopped Jackson with one punch. We don't have to speculate about Andy Lee's one-punch knockout power. We've seen it. I saw a fight. Andy Lee was on his way to losing to Craig McEwen. He lands a big punch. McEwen goes down. When McEwen gets back up, life's not the same for him. Right? I'm surprised Saunders would choose to fight Lee by standing right in front of Lee and literally just challenging him in the pocket. Now, it's breathtaking, and it's a tribute to Saunders' upper body, that he believed that Lee wasn't quick enough to hit him. But let's just say, looking around the division, we just saw Golovkin show us a nice crisp jab to flush guys out of the pocket. What would Saunders do against Golovkin? I'm not sure if Saunders is the kind of guy who can dodge a jab and then live inside, like, let's say, a Mike Tyson. I believe Saunders is correct not to fight Golovkin anytime soon. Also, I was surprised Saunders never turns on a lot of lateral movement in this fight. Right? He's mainly flat-footed. Maybe the public has him wrong. Maybe the public thinks he's just a boxer. Maybe this guy who went into this fight with a better than 50% KO ratio is really a guy who prefers to go flat-footed and rely on his upper body to dodge punches, only backing away from the pocket. Right? Only backing away from the pocket when it gets too hot in the pocket. Right? So, my advice to Saunders, quite frankly, is to stay away from Golovkin for at least the next year. And it's to stay away from Danny Jacobs, a guy who has lateral movement and who marries that to power. Right? As for Andy Lee, let me say this. Of course, if you get knocked down twice early in a fight against an unbeaten fighter, Quillen was unbeaten when he fought Andy Lee. Right? Here Saunders was unbeaten. Right? When you get knocked down twice early in a fight, of course, the unbeaten fighter is going to feel he has the fight at hand and is going to let you off the hook for a few rounds. Lee shouldn't fool himself into believing that because he wins some rounds in the second half of the fight, that means that he was necessarily getting to Billy Joe Saunders. Finally, let me say this. This is the second Saunders fight where he jumps out to a lead and then curiously, and I do mean curiously, is lounging around the pocket. Right? Saunders needs to come up with a way to protect the lead, doesn't he? Right? What's he doing against a heavy-handed opponent, lingering that much around the pocket? Right? The Eubank fight was a split decision. Here, I'm telling you, I was watching a British feed. Some people thought the fight was in doubt. One of the judges, I believe, had the fight a draw. Right? Or had it close to a draw. So Saunders needs to figure out how to protect the lead by using lateral movement. Saunders doesn't use lateral movement enough. Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Happy holidays.